Well, Sky Sports' football features writer Nick Wright joins us. As Emery just mentioned there, I mean, it was quite the night for Jhon Duran, yet again, wasn't it?
Again, yes. I mean, it was a brilliant spectacle, wasn't it, as a game? And Jhon Duran just continues to influence games in a huge way from the bench. As you mentioned before, it's another game in which he's scored as a substitute. That's 5 substitute goals now, which is the most, not just of Premier League players, but in the whole of Europe this season. Wow. Here we have it, 5 goals from Jhon Duran from the bench, 2 more than any other player in Europe. It really is an extraordinary record, and we've got another graphic we'll show you here showing his efficiency. You know, this really highlights just how efficient he is. 6 goals from him in total this season at an average of only 1 every 49.5 minutes, which is quite incredible, really, and puts him in a league of his own, really. Not even Erling Haaland can come close to that level of efficiency this season. Cole Palmer, Luis Diaz and Brian Mbeumo, the other players in this top 5. So incredible numbers from Jhon Duran, and remember, this is a player capable of scoring spectacular goals as well, as we saw last night against Bayern, that goal over Manuel Neuer. That was the 5th goal he has scored from outside the area since the start of last season, which is the most by any striker, along with Erling Haaland. These are Premier League strikers only. So again, another way in which he's really standing out, not just scoring important goals, but scoring spectacular goals as well.
And obviously doing that from the bench as well. And it's sort of the question we keep asking, isn't it, to Emery whenever he scores? Will he start him? Will he play him? Can he play Watkins alongside him? What's the likelihood of that? Should they do it? We heard from Paul Merson before, who said he's quite happy with just how it is. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. And that's what's spurring him on to come on and score, because he's just waiting there, eager.
Yeah, well, that is one argument, isn't it? If he's so effective from the bench, then maybe it's best to keep him there. But it is a challenge for Emery, isn't it? The idea of trying to get both of these players into the starting lineup. We have seen them on the pitch together this season, but with Duran coming on as a substitute. And actually, they've only started 2 games together since Duran's arrival at the club. And Villa didn't win either of those games. There was the 1-1 draw at West Ham. Duran was actually taken off at half-time in that game, and then there was the 5-0 loss to Crystal Palace on the final day of last season. So both of those games ended in a draw and a loss. So it's not something Emery has yet managed to do effectively as starters. But it is interesting to compare the 2 players and how they maybe differ in style. So here we have a statistical comparison. So we see that Watkins has played considerably more minutes. He's obviously scored considerably more goals as well, but in terms of strike rate, Duran is of course way ahead there with a goal, 1.31 goals every 90 minutes compared to Watkins' 0.56, which is still a very impressive return. That is a very healthy scoring rate from Watkins. In terms of shots, we see as well that Duran is much more prolific. He has a lot more shots than Watkins, but where Watkins has a big edge is in terms of his creativity. He is very selfless. He's a team player, and we see that with the number of assists he produces, the number of big chances he creates. Duran, with zeros next to those 2 columns, he's much more of an out-and-out goal scorer, whereas Watkins gives so much to the team as a runner, as an assister. So it's really interesting to see how Emery can maybe make those 2 dovetail.